Hey, thanks much for tuning into the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. Happy Monday, everyone. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Fathers, hopefully you had a great day yesterday, Father's Day, or maybe you celebrated all weekend. Not too sure what you did, but hopefully you had a great weekend. And we're going to continue on in our time here in 2 Corinthians. We're going to be in chapter 5 today. We're actually going to start in verse 1. We're not going to get into the whole chapter as we won't have time for that, but I want to encourage you to sit down, read through the entire chapter, and that the second half of the chapter talks about this ministry of reconciliation, what God has entrusted to us here on this earth, those who've received Jesus Christ as their personal Savior. Now He has given us that opportunity, that ministry now to share that with others. Well, let's talk about our bodies now. Let's talk about, our temporary residency that we have here on earth. And he describes it here in, Paul describes it in chapter 5, starting in verse 1, says this: "For we know that if the earthly tent we live in is destroyed, we have a building from God, an eternal house in heaven, not built by human hands." If that's not motivating to you, I don't know what else can be. I'm so thankful that this is temporary. I'm so thankful that this mortal body, these imperfections, the things that we have or don't have or compare to or wish that we had or wish we didn't have or whatever it may be, all of these things are just going to disappear because this is an earthly tent. But we have a building. We have God's building, not built by human hands. Verse 1. Now, verse 2 says, "Meanwhile, we groan, longing to be clothed instead with our heavenly dwelling." I think we all have. I think maybe we are right now thinking, man, when is this going to end? When is this uncertainty going to end? When is this whatever it may be? And maybe you're experiencing sickness and disease. Maybe you have a loved one that's experiencing this pain or this discomfort, and I'm sorry about that. But one thing that is motivating, one thing that we can count on is that this is going to be temporary, because this right here is temporary. And in verse 3, it says, "Because when we are clothed, we will not be found naked. For while we are in this tent, we groan and are burdened, because we do not wish to be unclothed, but to be clothed instead with our heavenly dwelling, so that what is mortal may be swallowed up by life." Now, what the Bible is describing here is that we will have this heavenly body, this heavenly dwelling. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but it's going to be better than what we have right now. So I'm so thankful for that. Honestly, I'm wishing not necessarily even a physical. I'm wishing, because I'm picturing heaven just going to be an eternal worship song, worshiping heaven, worshiping God the Father in heaven. And I'm praying that I'm going to have a good voice, because I don't have a good voice right now. So that's why, even if it's not, it doesn't really matter, because there's not going to be any comparison. There's not going to be any fault. So whether I have a good voice or not, I don't know. But what I do know is that this earthly body is going to be swallowed up, and I will have my heavenly being, my glorified body, which I cannot wait. But until that time, this is what verse 5 says. "Now, the one who has fashioned us for this very purpose is God, who has given us the Spirit as a deposit, guaranteeing what is to come." Verse 6, "Therefore, we are always confident and know that as long as we are at home in the body, we are away from the Lord. For we live by faith and not by sight." And let's just pause right there. I want to encourage you to read through the rest of the chapter here, but I want to encourage you. So whatever you are facing today, whatever shortcoming, whatever sickness, whatever disease that you or a loved one is facing, know this: that when you receive Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, we have this guarantee, we have this deposit guaranteeing what is to come. That we have a building, that we have a glorified body, not a temporary tent that we live in right now. So let that be a motivation to you. And if you are if you're dealing with a loved one who is struggling with their health, encourage them with these verses today. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth.